Okay, on today's 30-minute music marketing deep dive session, how to approach festivals for a slot.
How on earth do you do it? We're going to find out.
Cue title sequence.
30-minute music marketing for musicians who want to get better at marketing their music.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Sheldon, and this is 30-minute music marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to get better at marketing their music. And we're going to go for a deep dive on just one topic today, Greg.
Okay.
And that's all about festivals. Festivals are good. We like festivals, both, going to them as customers, as you've done fairly recently.
I went to a festival as a customer.
And
it's a very different experience.
Being
I won't
behind
lie.
the other side, the customer-facing side, rather than being backstage as we normally are.
I know which I prefer.
What an experience it was for you.
It was. I did a lot of walking.
So, if you're in a band or you're an artist and you want to get on at a festival and you don't have the necessary contacts, how on earth do you go about doing that? That's basically what we're going to try and explore about today. So I think what we need to do is to try and put things into context. And if you are trying to book a festival, I think it's important to know how festivals sort of work and who books them, as it were. Well, different sizes of festivals, I would say, are run sort of differently. If it's a small festival, then there's either going to be a proprietor or maybe a small sort of team, and it's their job to do everything from booking the acts to booking the stage and booking the PA, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in terms of the person you need to approach, or persons, it's just going to be that sort of small team. What happens then is as a festival sort of gets bigger, probably what's going to happen is more stages come into play. And it may well be that those particular owners book for that particular stage, or it may well be that at that particular stage, the booking for that stage is possibly farmed out to someone else. And what happens is sometimes if there's an additional stage, it might be a different sort of type of music, and maybe that's a different style of music than what the proprietors or the owners are maybe knowledgeable in. Yeah. Or it may well be that if it's a smaller sort of local music scene, then they might go, well, I don't necessarily have that much of a finger on the pulse of the local sort of scene, so that might be farmed off to a local music promoter who knows, what bands and artists are popping, as it were. So that sort of might happen. When you get to sort of more medium sort of size festivals, it may well be that there is a dedicated booker involved. And what will happen is the people who own the festival, they will maybe have a wish list of people that they might necessarily like. There are booking agents who will be contacting festival bookers, specifically saying, right, well, if you're trying to book for next year, these are the artists that will be on tour. These are the ones that will be available. Maybe they've got new albums dropping, and they'll be looking to promote that and promote themselves. And it's the full-time job of the booker to liaise and go back and forth and deal with budgets and requests and what have you. Yeah. So the person you'd be contacting there, and obviously the people who own the festival, they'll have a wish list. Mm-hmm. But if you were an independent person trying to contact that particular festival for a slot, it's the particular festival booker who will probably book all the main sort of, the main acts. Yeah. Maybe not the specialist sort of dance acts, that sort of thing. So
is there anything can you do anything wrong in this thing? Is there anything that you shouldn't do?
Well, it's funny you should say that. The first thing I would do is, did you actually read that off the...
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I didn't know whether you'd reached that in a natural sort of conclusion. What I would...
Acting, dear.
There's nothing worse than you, I would say, going to that particular festival's website and clicking on the contact details and getting through to the info at whatever the festival website is, .com or .co.uk, and going, oh, I'm in a band, me, and chance I can get on. Or potentially DMing them on the Instas or inboxing on any other social networks, doing that sort of thing. The reason being is that those particular accounts will be handled normally by the social media intern or someone of a similar sort of capacity, and whoever is actually doing the booking will be logistically, they'll be a long distance away from reaching that. So it's a bit like you emailing Virgin Trains and going, "Oh, I know your boss is Richard Branson, right? I've got this fantastic idea for it." It's like you wouldn't do that. So don't do that if you're trying to get yourself booked on a festival. That's not necessarily the way to do it. What we've really got to do is
But you have put here, unless it's really small, then you will have to.
But even if it's a really small festival, it's almost like if you're coming through that particular way, it almost shows that you don't know what you're doing, and your inquiry will be treated with a certain amount of disdain.
So first impressions
you're almost
count.
Very much so, and you're almost you're trying to come across as a professional. And if you do it like that, in some respects, you've already proven yourself to be a little bit of an amateur.
And then, unfortunately, first impressions will be, if you can't get this part right, you're not going to be very good. Yeah.
So first off, I mean, it may well be that there are plenty festivals out there that are suitable for yourself and your type of music, but you don't even know who they are. So you've got to do a little bit of research, and I did this myself before I came out to record our show this morning. I typed into Google. Obviously we're based in the UK, so I just typed in UK music festivals to begin my research.
Quite
session.
simple keywords there.
Quite simple keywords, and the things that were brought up. The most pertinent thing that came up was a Wikipedia entry for list of music festivals in the United Kingdom. Brilliant.
You really can't get any simpler than that.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing what you can do when you type things into Google. I typed into.
It's almost
Google,
like you don't have to think for yourself.
I know. I typed in festival listings. And amongst one of the things that I got was a website, which is obviously a UK-based one, called efestivals.co.uk.
I have heard of that.
And that lists all the, small to medium to large
Did
festivals.
it even list Burton Woodstock?
I don't know whether it went down as far
small
as
as
that.
that.
But I mean, this is it. If you do a little bit of research, rather than having to do all the research yourself, there will be other resources and other websites that might have done all this for you, just so you know where to look. I also typed in independent music festivals UK as a, just as a, again.
Did it come up with any
keywords.
different results?
But just typing UK music festivals, independent music festivals, festival listings, those are the sorts of, like you say, keywords that you can use as starting/branching points to try and get a list of festivals that obviously you then go to the website, see if what they do is appropriate for what you do, whether they've maybe got one particular stage where you think, oh right, yeah, I might fit the bill there, and if so, then you need to either use a Word document or an Excel sort of spreadsheet collating all the relevant information for people that you need to go onto the next stage with.
So you've been talking about doing your research, so obviously this requires possibly some stages. So the first stage you put here is the long game.
The long game,
Please
right.
explain.
If you've got all these details of all these festivals that you think might be suitable for you, the long game is, right, well, you need to follow them on their appropriate social media networks. Generally, what happens is, pretty much as soon as a festival is finished, this festival booker or whoever runs the festival, they'll be looking to secure their headliners for next year. And what happens is a festival programmer or booker will start right at the top, as in these are the people that we want first, and then they will work their way sort of down. And once it gets to maybe 4 months before the actual festival date, then they're basically looking at, right, who else are we going to get to try and sort of fill our lineup? So in other words, all the important acts have been secured. Now let's maybe start to think about the ones that we can use to pad out the bill, as it were.
Do they ever forget, Sheldon?
Best not to go into that. So what most festivals, I would say, most medium to small festivals will do is they will put out an open call to acts to say, do you want to play this festival? and there will come a point where they will have a page on their website, or a specific form. Say, if you want to play this particular festival, fill out here, SoundCloud here, YouTube link there. So it's almost a case of, if you can find out which festivals would be suitable for you, if you can wait until the next year of that particular festival, chances are that they will pretty much go, right, we're open to applications, you apply now, you've just got to almost wait your turn.
A quick question, because our viewers, even the ones in the States, are going to know Glastonbury Music Festival. Do they do the same as well?
They run a tight. Right, the thing about Glastonbury is
because the reason I bring that up is because it's the one that everybody goes on about.
So Emily Evis, she books programs for the Pyramid stage, and I think maybe the other stage as well. What Glastonbury is, in addition to that, is there are about 12 other individual promoters and that many, who look after all those other areas, and so those 12 different sets of people are responsible for booking all those other acts. Emily Evis hasn't got an idea as to pretty much whoever's playing Glastonbury.
She'll focus on her job.
She will just get told. It's like, we booked so and so. Again, because one person can't have an encyclopedic knowledge of world music, and it's an impossible task for just one sort of person. So that's that. So I think Glastonbury run one particular competition where they're open to applications, and I think there might be one particular slot.
Okay. So is that what you did? Because you played it a couple of times.
No. We got in through those individual sort of promoters.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. So that is the long game. So it does take a bit of preparation, doesn't it?
A bit of preparation and
a
bit of time and a bit of patience, and it's almost like just wait your turn until the time comes when they're actually looking for people, dare I say, to fill up the bill. And if you apply like that, you probably won't get paid anything, but what will probably happen is you might get sort of free tickets, that sort of thing.
You might even get a small rider.
You might even get some beers backstage. How nice would that be?
So, right, next one, obviously going from the long game to stage 2.
So information is key. What we need to do is, in order to contact the people who book the said festival, you need to try and find their name. So it's a bit of Googling, Greg. So what I would do is, and I've done this myself.
Where would we be without Google?
Where would we be indeed?
Or any other search engine?
Remember Dogpile? It was one of those search engines that searched lots of other search engines.
No,
it's back in the day.
Does it still exist?
I don't think
I can remember Netscape. That's about as far back as I can go.
If you probably typed Dogpile into the internet, there's probably something terrible would come up. So what I would do is, I would search name your festival and then Booker and use that as a search term.
Again, quite simple keywords.
Quite simple. Name a festival or programmer. So again, different
You've even put
terminology.
Talent buyer.
Talent buyer for our friends in America.
I was going to say I haven't heard that phrase.
That's because you're not as internationally renowned.
You're just so cosmopolitan,
and well-versed as myself. And just see if you can get any names. Another thing to try is if you're on LinkedIn. Everyone should be on LinkedIn, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Even musicians.
Yeah.
You saying that I need a LinkedIn profile?
You need a LinkedIn profile, Greg.
That's something else I've got to do.
Oh, I know. It's something else to keep. And it's got a news feed as well.
Has it?
Yeah.
Do you need an up-to-date photo, or can I just edit the out of one?
Well, just put the fake ones that you normally put on the internet. Oh, here's me at a music festival. My face has suddenly been removed of all its lines and crevices.
It's Botox.
Yeah. So LinkedIn. Just type in the name of the festival and just see who might particularly pop up.
I really didn't think that they would be on Booked In. I thought that would be just more for your kind of real jobs.
The thing you've got to remember is a lot of the people who work in the festival industry are self-employed.
Right.
So they will be on LinkedIn. They will possibly have their own websites, which is one of the ways that you can do it. So if you're in the biz, if you're trying to make a name for yourself, if you're trying to, earn revenue from music in any way, in the same way that your business has a website, if you yourself are a business, then chances are there is a way of trying to get get hold of you. So if this particular case, hopefully this has come up trumps, and you found the name of a particular person, and the idea then is that you might necessarily have only just found a name, and then what you do is you type in the name of that person, maybe the festival or maybe their sort of title, and you use the term email as well.
Right.
It's a lot of work, but having done
This is what everybody wants.
having done if you actually want to do something, and if you really do want it, then not everything is easy. Something will require a bit of work.
Unfortunately, if it really was that easy, you'd be doing it already.
Yeah, and as I say, I've done this myself, A, as an exercise, and B, to try and get more festival contacts for my own band for next year. And I say that in a good, in terms of maybe not necessarily the right person to speak to, but in I'd say over 50% of cases, I've got a good strong lead, because sometimes you fire off an email and just say, oh, I don't, sometimes I start emails and just say, I'm not sure if you're necessarily the right person to speak to, but bang, bing, bang, bong.
Right. Okay, so you've now gone on to insider information.
Insider information.
I mean, obviously, what you're talking about is insider information because you've already done this.
Yes, but
How can we
if you're trying to play a festival and you know someone who's played that festival before, it's fairly easy to send them an email and just go, oh, right, you played this festival, I'd like to get on it. Who were you liaising with when you were booked? And that is something that I've done I've swapped contact details. It's almost a bit like, I can give you the booker for XYZ festival, but I see you've played,
So it's
ABC
an
festival.
exchange
Yes,
of
an exchange of
information.
contact details. And sometimes it may well be that even if you don't necessarily know the person, you can have a look on that festival poster for maybe last year or the year before. Have a look at try and find bands that are maybe of a similar size to yourself. You don't go to Ed Sheeran's Facebook page and go, Ed, I saw you play Glastonbury the other year. You wouldn't have Emily. Yeah, that's not going to. But again, a band.
You've got to be realistic in your
Yes,
expectations.
of a similar sort of size of yourself. What harm can there be just by going, I saw you play XYZ festival last year or the other year. I'd love to play there as well. Love your music, by the way.
Yeah, always pay a compliment.
Any chance you could possibly slip us the email of the person who booked you? And the worst they can say is no.
If you don't ask, you don't find out.
Exactly.
So, Sheldon, we've got this information.
Yep.
What on earth do I put in the email?
So you're sending an email, so you go, hi, we're, I don't know, Derek and the Dominoes, or whatever, or this is me. I'd love to play your festival. I'd maybe send them a YouTube link. Here's footage of us playing live. I wouldn't necessarily send them a SoundCloud or a Spotify link for the simple reason that really what they want to see is they want to see the goods in action.
They don't want to hear. Well, I mean, ultimately they need to see and hear.
Yeah, people like you who run a studio, you can make even average people sound really sort of good. So I don't, if I'm running a festival, I don't want to see what is basically an artificial representation.
Yeah, you want to see the real deal.
A musical performance, right? Yeah. So if you play,
so again, you're really kind of re-emphasising the importance of video.
Yes, for someone who
happens to do video.
Yes. Don't worry, this isn't actually plug. This is us trying to re-emphasise the important points. If you played certain festivals before, or a number of festivals, or even a high-profile festival before, stick that down again. It's sort of proofing as to
you're authenticating yourself,
your capabilities. If you've recently played any particular towns or cities, or you're on tour, or you've just come off tour, if you've basically established yourself as a touring act, put that sort of information in there. Then just sign off and just say, hope you like this, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. What I'd maybe do is, because that particular person might not necessarily be booking right now, it may well be a couple of weeks or months before they even start looking at it. Diary up, maybe contact them again in about sort of 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and just trying to get a response, and either a yes or a no in any way, shape or form. just try and get an answer either way as to whether they've had a chance to listen to it. And again, even if they just say no, at least then you can
move on to the next.
You can move on to the next.
So you put here at the end a final note of caution.
Right. So here's me
Please explain.
Being really optimistic, and saying that.
Of course, I'm optimistic.
If you've got the owner or the booker's details, and we contact them, then fingers crossed, we've got maybe a good chance of having a fair crack at the whip. But just because you've got the bookers or the festival owner's contact details, that is no measure of potential success. There was a time, this is quite a few years ago now, but it's quite an interesting anecdote, that we were playing in London, my band was playing in London, and a radio presenter friend of ours brought along to our show the booker for the Reading and Leeds Festival.
Right, okay.
So...
Did you know this beforehand?
I can't remember now. I think I sort of did. So this radio presenter was doing us a favour, and was trying to get us booked on the Reading and Leeds Festival. And it just so happened, because he's a national radio presenter, he knows everybody. So here was us thinking, this is it, lads. Main stage, Reading and Leeds.
It's a dead cert.
Dead cert. So this festival booker comes along, and he didn't like us. Not to say that we were terrible. It's just like I can see what they're doing. It's just not
for us.
It's just not for us. So don't be too disheartened. But really, what I'm trying to say is, even though you might necessarily have the rights for the contact details, that isn't always going to be a measure that you will achieve success in your endeavours. But if you don't have that information, then you definitely won't have a fair crack at the whip.
And that's the thing, you might not have got that festival, but you've played other big festivals.
Oh, very much so.
And they get it. So, you can't please everybody all the time. So.
But like I say, if you are in the process of trying to get on a particular bill, the one thing you do need is for your inquiry to get to the rights of the person. Hopefully, with the information that we've provided here, you've got a fair crack at the whip in terms of doing your own research to find out who that particular person is, and then making your inquiry and cross your fingers. Or, like I say, with the long game, just follow them on social media. In fact, just as I was coming out, I noticed the Musicians Union had retweeted, because there's one particular festival. I think it might be one of these urban inner city festivals that happen later on in the late summer, autumn months, and it was just like applications to open to play our particular festival are now open, and it's only when you come to realise, really, it can sometimes be as easy as that.
And that's the thing. I mean, they're going to be using social media as much as you are. Probably, more than likely more than you are.
By those festivals opening up applications to play, that's almost one way of promoting the festival in itself.
So basically, you need to use that list, find all of them, and follow their social medias. Because I presume, as an example, when would Kendall Calling start marketing next year? Have they already started?
They've already started. Right. They started pretty much the day after the festival.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a 365-day operation in terms of marketing.
Well, we hope you liked today's deep dive. It might have gone slightly over 15 minutes, but there's a lot of useful information.
Who cares?
Smash that subscribe button that is here.
Tell a musician friend about the podcast. I'm sure they'll love it.
Friend.
Anybody. Tell your dog, get your dog listening.
Yep, this one listens all the time.
One extra play count, it'll work.
How is the Spotify doing?
It's doing all right. It's doing better than the YouTubes.
Yeah, which is a shame, really. Maybe it's our faces, I don't know. Maybe we just need to have a dog thing.
Yes, or maybe it's our deep, luxurious voices. There it is again. He's got a voice for radio, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, thanks for listening. And we will see you next time.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.